Wrong person.
Thank you, Blue Eyes. How you doing, beautiful? Hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you, baby. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Just checking my stuff.
A sour ball of death.
God, I wish I had. How you doing, baby? Oh yeah. You have a sore throat and your stomach hurts. I'm sorry, baby. I am so sorry you don't feel good. Sorry, I didn't see your first message. I am so sorry, baby. Hope you're okay. Besides your yucky throat. I'm just kind of enjoying myself right now.
Oh God, he's coming back. Get out of here.
Hold on.
More terror.
What? There's no music. I just realized that. I'm so sorry, guys. I want to hear this one again. I like this one. Hello, welcome.
Girls with their nails done now.
Much love to you, baby.
Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done.
Hope you guys are doing wonderful. I am doing marvelous. Thank you all for hanging out. We're going to play some music, and we're going to play some YouTube videos, fights, mature things that shouldn't be talked to around kids. So I am going to mature people only. All right.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their
I love techno music. I love this music.
nails done. I think the girls with their nails done.
Oh,
Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done.
we're going to take a look at Ami Horowitz's new video. Ami went around New York asking people on the street if the richest people in America are paying their fair share in taxes. You can check out the full video over at Daily Wire's YouTube page. Let's get started.
I'm Ami Horowitz, and the mantra of the left is that the rich don't pay their fair share in taxes. Let's go find out if that's true. Do you think the rich pay their fair share in taxes?
Fuck no, dude.
Do the rich pay their fair share in taxes?
Absolutely fucking not. In America, in the United States, absolutely not.
Probably not fair if all things are considered.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No chance.
No, absolutely not.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Yeah, no.
Definitely not.
Not even close.
The problem with a lot of them is that they just would rather be dead than see poor people be rich or be well off.
I mean, I know people in America think of Gaddafi as a negative guy, but let's go back to Libya. Libya, free education, free electricity.
Gaddafi was slaughtering people in the streets.
He was slaughtering people in the streets.
So it's a 6 of this, half dozen of the other.
I just think capitalism is stupid and it doesn't work. I mean, obviously, look at our country, it doesn't work.
Okay, can we pause it there for 1 second? My favorite is when people who are wearing things that they bought at a store that are much nicer than anything they could get in a communist country are like, capitalism obviously doesn't work. She said while wearing a sweatshirt that she got at a store, and sunglasses she got at a store, and carrying a purse that she got at a store. Yes, communism is obvious. Just look at our country. It doesn't work. Yes.
How is it possible for billionaires to even exist in this country?
And you've got the most starving, suffering people on the in the richest country in the world.
Now, wait a second. You come from Zimbabwe. More people are starving in Zimbabwe than here.
They sold me a lemon.
Okay, stop it there. Wait, if you come from Zimbabwe to the United States and then you think that you were sold a lemon, you're not on this planet. Zimbabwe is one of the worst places to live on the planet. Also, like, I noticed that you have some sunglasses, nice Nike sweatshirt right there. Like, the notion that other places around the world are better than the United States is rooted in either insanity or complete ignorance. We have the most starving people on the planet? No, we absolutely 100% do not. We do not have nearly the number of starving people that pretty much every other country on the planet has, which is why people were clamoring to get here. I noticed there was not a lot of reverse immigration from the United States to Zimbabwe, for example.
I just think people shouldn't even be able to make as much money as they do.
So you think there should be a cap on income?
Yes, fully.
What we're looking at is serfdom.
What percentage should be paid by the top 1%?
Probably 60%.
70 or 80%.
I think if they could kick it up to 75 to 80, that would be good, man.
Hit them up for 80%.
They need to be freaking taxed.
Well, what's wrong with 90%?
90% is, I like you. I love you, man. 90%. That's 90%.
95%?
Dude,
they can live on 5%.
I think they can live on 5%, man. I get where you're going with this, man. I totally agree.
99% of their wealth.
Why should people with less money be paying more than billionaires when they literally don't have that money to pay in the first place?
Can you stop
Why
this?
do you think
It makes me sad for democracy. I mean, truly, this makes me sad for democracy. That people want to make tax policy like, what do you think that people who are richer than you should pay? Everything. 120% of their wealth. Why should they have more money than I am? I mean, here I am in the middle of the day in a park. I assume this is a work day. Maybe they have more money than you because they're not walking around in a park in the middle of the day. Maybe.
So do you think that the poor pay a higher percentage of their income?
Yes.
Or the rich?
They do pay a higher percentage
The
of their
poor.
income. Yeah, they do, yeah.
Oh, the lower class, definitely.
Pay more.
Yeah.
Lower income people. Poor people.
So the 1% earn about 25% of all the income in America.
So well, there you go. If we're talking about fair share,
Right.
then, you know, if you're bringing in 25% of the income, 25% of the taxes should also...
That would be fair.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
And would you be surprised if I told you that the top 1% pay 40% of all
I
taxes?
would be surprised, yeah.
Would it surprise you if I said the rich, the 1%, pay 40% of all taxes in America?
Interesting. Would surprise me. Yeah. Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a little more fair than you might have thought.
Yeah.
What percent of income do you think the top 1% pay?
I think they're paying like freaking 2% of that.
They're paying 27%.
What?
27%. What percent of their income do you think people at the 50% and below pay?
Probably higher than 27%. It gets higher the lower your income comes.
Wait, so what do you think the number is?
I think it's probably over 50.
It's 4%.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I love that interesting is the code word for I'm an idiot. Interesting is like, oh, that is interesting. Well, I mean, I'm still going to vote for all the same politicians who've been lying to me. And I'm still going to say next time somebody asks me on the street that the rich should pay more taxes, but it is interesting that you're completely exploding my worldview with like one sentence. Sure. Interesting. Interesting. Always interesting.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Man, yeah. I need to study up more on this, man.
Good for him. All right. Like, seriously, good for that guy. All right.
Numbers.
Did that surprise you?
Yes.
Does that seem more fair?
Yeah, it would be pretty fair.
Oh, wow.
Yeah?
Yes, I would.
I gotta look into this stuff.
Is that surprising?
Yes.
Does that seem more fair?
Because I feel like it's, I mean, well, yeah, it would definitely seem fair.
Telling me that's a reality?
100%.
Wow. I'm shocked.
Seems like the bottom should pay a little more.
Well,
I love that.
oops. Well, oops. As you can see, a huge number of Americans know nothing about the actual tax rates in the United States. All they know is what the media keeps saying over and over. And they know that Bernie Sanders told them that the rich aren't paying the fair share, even though I have 3 houses. And they know that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is like, well, that's what they know. Those are all the things they know. They don't know any of the actual stats, which is why we have to remind them of the actual stats, like this one. According to the Congressional Budget Office report on distribution of taxes in 2013, the top 1% of households paid 34% of their income to federal taxes. The middle 20% paid 12.8%. The top 20% of income households, they paid an average in 2013 of almost $60,000 into federal tax coffers. When you include any wealth transfers they were paid by the government. The fourth highest quintile, meaning like the people between 20 and 40%, they paid like $2,600. The middle quintile actually made money from the feds. And the second lowest quintile made $12,200. The lowest quintile made like almost $9,000 from the federal government. Here's the bottom line. According to the American Enterprise Institute, the highest income quintile, like the top 20%, are financing 100% of the entire system of transfer payments to the bottom 60% and also funding the entire operation of the federal government. So, yeah. Actually, it turns out that if you were to compare the United States to, for example, Europe, we have the most progressive federal tax system among all OECD 24 countries because we don't tax poor people and we tax very, very rich people extraordinarily highly. Now, everybody wants to live like Denmark without getting taxed like Denmark. The thing about living like Denmark is that you also have to tax people at middle income at extraordinarily high rates. But nobody wants to do that. So they just lie. They just bitch and moan about the rich, and it's the rich to this and the rich to that. At a certain point, the rich will just go galt, and then you're all going to be left to fend for yourselves is sort of the way things are probably going to go. And a quick note, good on some of these people for actually acknowledging that they were wrong about all of this. Now we'll see if that actually translates into stopping their vote patterns. Don't vote for Democrats who lie to you should be the message. Thanks for taking a look at this video with me. If you want to check out the entire Ami Horowitz video, head on over to dailywire.com.
So policing in America, something that I thought was really interesting, based on statistics from the FBI. In 2019, 89 law enforcement officers were killed in the line of duty. 48 of those died as a result of felonious acts. 41 of those died in accidents. However, they killed 1,348 people in the U.S. alone.
If I'm sitting right here and I pull a gun out of my pants and I go like this and I look this way and I start shooting at you, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna shoot at you.
You're gonna fucking kill me, aren't you?
So it's I do not and will not agree with this narrative that the police are just constantly they're at war and that they are under fire all the time and that they're being hunted. It's just not fucking true. The data, there's no data to support that.
Well, there is video footage of Los Angeles that just happened a couple weeks ago of a man that walked up to the vehicle and shot 2 fucking officers in the head, correct?
Shadow cabal of fucking really violent protesters that are just there to incite violence. I think that's bullshit. I participated in some of those protests. I did.
Hey, what's up,
Peaceful.
Kentucky boy? How you doing, buddy?
A protester in Portland who threw a Molotov cocktail at a fucking cop, but he missed, and the fucking thing set his own leg on fire. Who saved his ass?
The cop.
The fucking cop
Yep.
saved his ass.
After he tried to kill the cop. That's
There's some
fucking,
good. You want to go protest? Go ahead. Let me put your fucking leg out. Then you can throw another fucking Molotov cocktail at me.
I'm glad you're doing good. I am doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just having
And so maybe it is.
Thank
Maybe
God
we
it's
do.
Friday,
Maybe
and
we
it
defund
is
them,
mature
and we
Friday.
pull them out
Mature
of all
audience
of the
Friday.
neighborhoods
So I'm.
that don't want them.
Yeah, hopefully I don't get into trouble, but I am
And we'll just
X-tagged.
Sort it out.
I think that would go poorly.
I think that would go extremely fucking poorly. But sometimes, you know, maybe the best thing to do is just let people live in what the fuck they created.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Give them what they want. You don't want any police? You won't get any. None.
So policing in America, something that I thought was really interesting, based on statistics from the FBI. In 2019, 89 law enforcement officers were killed in the line of duty. 48 of those died as a result of felonious acts. 41 of those died in accidents. However, they killed 1,348 people in the U.S. alone. So, looking at that, I think there's a big... The police think they're at war. A lot of training, I see,
Yeah, I
kind of pushes
completely
that
understand.
narrative. But based on the
Kentucky boy.
data, it looks
Everything's
like
going into hell in a handbag. And
police are actually rather safe in their line of work, and that their civilians are not.
You know, the
So,
civilians are very
with that
safe,
in
but
mind,
it's
and with the fact that, you know, we've seen from 2010 to 2015, $1 billion has been paid out in public lawsuits over police misconduct. And with the recent protests, there's been 10,600 demonstrations linked to the Black Lives Matter movement in all 50 states, according to the ACLU. And 95% of those were peaceful. And fewer than 570 or 5% of them involved demonstrators engaging in violence. So I guess what I'm getting at here is that
Close your
the
eyes and just
narrative, it
relax,
seems,
okay,
is
baby?
on one side you've got the police who feel, you know, that their jobs are very dangerous and they're not well liked, but from the civilian side it looks like they're fucking civilians up. I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, for starters, what were those statistics again? So you said, did you give a percentage of how many?
Yeah, all lives.
Black
all
Lives
matter.
Matters.
All lives
protests wound up violent.
Yes.
Yeah.
That were linked to the protest itself was linked to Black Lives Matter. 5% of those, out of 10,600 recorded demonstrations, 5% of those resulted in violence.
So I wonder, not that this is an excuse, but I wonder how many police calls there were, how many times they responded to something, and what the percentage of that wound up, you know, being bad.
Yeah, so I mean that is something to account for. Police do interact with people a lot, and so maybe the statistics gone like it probably seems to be that the overall majority of police interactions with civilians are non-fatal, but
a lot of them are.
Falling back on what the
Some
FBI
are.
said. There are instructors that go around. I'm sure you know some of them that teach police training, and a lot of that narrative is pushed that they have a very dangerous job. They're at war, and And I think that's the
In
wrong
some
way to go
areas,
about
they
it. I
are.
don't think that's
In
the
some
type of
areas, they are very
precedent
much
you want to set for the police.
at
You don't want to
war
put them in
with
that
other
mindset.
people.
And especially when I can't personally reconcile that 89 law enforcement officers were killed in the line of duty, half of those being accidents, not related to crime. But over 1,300 civilians were killed by police.
Yeah.
That's pretty staggering to me.
It is staggering. I would like to know the statistics of, you know, if we're going to talk about percentages, you know, what is the actual percentage of police responses that have gone bad? You know, is it 1%? Is it 0.5%? Because if anybody is looking for a perfect percentage, 100% perfect, that just isn't gonna fucking happen. Nothing is perfect. People will fucking die, and that's unfortunate. But I would like to know that percentage, and I think it's unfair to know the percentage of how many BLM protests went bad, which is only 5%, correct? And that's, I mean, pretty good. I think we need to know that percentage as well. You know, the other percentage. Is it 5%? Is it 1%? And, you know, as far as like the fatalities that they're responding to, what are they responding to? You know, I mean, I don't believe they think they're at war. But with that being said, police don't get called to respond just to bullshit. A smoke detector that's out of batteries. What are they being called to do? Domestic disputes, domestic violence. Look at the crime stats in the areas where they, you know, where this shit's happening. What are those like? If you go in there thinking everything's just gonna be just fine, you know, like Chicago, for example, certain neighborhoods of Chicago, violence there is through the roof. And their gun laws, that you can't even own a gun there, correct? So, do you think, I want to ask you a question, do you think it would be foolish to go into a neighborhood with a very high homicide rate, thinking everything's okay?
No, I think there could be a middle ground. I don't think police should look at civilians that they are meant to protect as enemies, all of them. And they shouldn't assume that every situation they're rolling up on, you know, you take Tamir Rice and Rayshard Brooks, you know, these were kids. Tamir Rice was 12, I believe, and was on a playground with a toy gun, and he was shot by police. That's absurd to me.
Yeah.
Bad intelligence, maybe. I mean, take, you know, another one I think that's definitely on everybody's tongues now is Breonna Taylor. You know, I think a big problem with that was they were operating on bad intelligence. Yeah, I wouldn't say, you know, and I think it does depend.
Now, to my knowledge, Breonna Taylor, when they responded to that or served the warrant or whatever the hell happened, I'm going off opinion and you're spitting facts, and I'm taking your facts as 100% truth. But they were fired upon first, correct?
They were.
So what are they supposed to do?
May I ask another question in that regard? What is the homeowner who gets a no-knock warrant?
Fever's 101, I mean 101,
a
I mean
gun-owning
100.1.
American has the right
There
to
we
do
go.
the stand your ground law, which Kentucky has. What are they supposed to do?
They might want to ask who the hell it is before they fucking shoot. What if that was her mom? What if that was his mom? What if that was a kid? They're just fucking gonna shoot blindly at the door for no fucking just, you know what I mean?
Same deal with the cops. They shot into several apartments, and that's what actually one of the officers got indicted on.
But they shot after they were fired upon.
I'm not sure of the round count, but I remember it being pretty high.
Well, I don't know the round count either, but it's
a bad situation
it's
for sure.
extremely hard to backseat quarterback these things without actually being there, or you know, and getting the full scope of what happened. But as a person that's been shot at several more times than I can count, shit goes out the window. You know, when somebody is trying to kill you, and that's what that person was doing, was trying to fucking kill them for serving a warrant, they have to defend themselves. They have to defend their brothers, you know, and it's very obviously it's very unfortunate what happened. But you know, when you're being shot at, you can't sit. You're making a decision. You're trying to make a logical decision while bullets are flying past your head. And when bullets are flying past your head, the only thing you're thinking about is, I want to go home tonight, and I want my, you know, my whoever the hell they're, you know, their colleagues, they want them to go home tonight. They're
Bullets whizzing by your head, yeah. Wanting to go, yeah.
You know, Shep, the president is using this weak jobs number to make the argument that Congress should really double down and push forward with his economic plan.
In the 3 months since I've been here, the economy has added 500,000 jobs per month. And this is progress. And it's a testament to our new strategy of growing this economy from the bottom up and the middle out. And it's a clear testament to why it's so needed.
Okay. The Republicans are saying just the opposite, that the stimulus plan has pumped so much money into workers' pockets that they can afford to stay on the sidelines of the jobs market. RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel said Biden is squandering the economic recovery and placed the blame right on the president. This is the biggest miss on a jobs report in more than 2 decades, and Biden's failed policies are to blame, she said. Now, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which speaks for the nation's biggest companies, argues it's now time to end that bonus $300 per week in unemployment benefits to give workers an incentive to get back on the job. I spoke
where's
to the
the
Chamber's
jobs?
Executive Vice President Neil Bradley
They're
today,
not there.
and he
They're not
described
there,
just how
guys.
tough things are now for companies that are trying to bring on new employees.
We just heard from a major CEO in the construction industry last night who said that they've actually stopped bidding on new work because they know they don't have the workers to fulfill the job if they won the bid.
Now, Shep, states like Montana and South Carolina will end that bonus $300 a week unemployment benefit as soon as next month, but it is going to go away for everybody else soon, too. Remember, under President Biden's relief plan passed earlier this year, those payments are scheduled to end in early September.
You're having
Back
sharp
over.
pains in your chest?
Shepard Smith here. Thanks.
Where are they located, and can you like, are you by your mom in them? What's going on, baby? Well, call 911. If you're having chest pains, are they getting worse, or are they... Well, tell your mom and them that you're having chest pains, baby. That's the only thing I could say, is you need to go to the hospital if you think you're having a heart attack. Don't play around with it. Please don't play around with it. If you think you're having a heart attack, have them take you or call an ambulance. You could gas blow? What? Or do you have gas? Or are you having heartburn? What are you having, baby? What's going on?
Well, we ignore at our peril the weak leadership in America. And we're now seeing the consequences of this around the world. Myanmar, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and I will say something later about France. President Biden addressed a joint session of Congress today. This bloke is without shame.
You're having heartburn.
He hailed
Okay.
the COVID-19 vaccines distributed across the United States as a dose of hope. That hope, Mr. Biden, was launched on Trump's watch. Trump ordered millions of vaccines before anyone thought of it. Only last week, Biden was telling the world in a virtual summit on climate change, and note Biden wearing a mask, the only one, but the world's biggest polluter, if carbon dioxide is pollution, is China. They're promising net zero emissions by 2060, 10 years after our commitment to 2050, when our economies will be trashed. China will reign supreme using our cheap coal. So, a week after the virtual climate summit, Biden had no direct condemnation today of China's pollution or military aggression. What he said was, quote, "In my discussion with President Xi, I told him we welcome the competition." What the hell's that about? "We're not looking for conflict," unquote. Well, of course, there will be no conflict. China is playing Biden off a break. Tony Abbott summed it up brilliantly last weekend when he wrote, quote, "There's been the militarisation of the South China Sea, the bullying of neighbours, even India, the trade boycotts against Australia, the abrogation of the One Country, Two Systems Treaty on Hong Kong, the mass internment of the Uyghurs, and most dangerous for the wider world, the growing belligerence towards Taiwan."
I haven't read very much on that, so I'm agreeing, yes,
have to
but
submit
still.
just because it was part of China more than 100 years and 2 world wars ago, unquote. And of course, China is militarising ports across our region. It's invaded Taiwan's airspace. What did the leader of the free world have to say in his first address about any of that today? Nothing. And no mention of Israel, with reports in the last 48 hours that former Secretary of State John Kerry, now Biden's climate change czar, dished details of covert Israeli actions to the Iranians. And you mean to say this bloke...
To seek escalation.
Putting Biden in this position of leading the world's democracies is elder abuse. His incoherence is not new, but it surely can't go on. There will have to be a presidential resignation shortly. Listen to this from only a couple of weeks ago.
The only way to spare more pain and more loss, the only way. These millstones no longer mark our national mourning. These milestones, I should say, no longer mark our national mourning.
God help me. And then this.
I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
This is the leader of the free world. How can we believe any self-respecting world leader will take this bloke seriously? Can you imagine what it's like talking to him live? One wag had it right with a meme that was posted on social media that says it all. Hey, Sleepy Joe, I think it'd be less confusing if you just turn the teleprompter around and let us read it for ourselves. Look, it's easy to laugh. This is very, very serious. For example,
I don't
today,
think we're screwed,
the plight
but
of
I think
migrants,
that
the
we need to
burden they
fix
have
a lot of
placed on
things
US
in our
resources,
country.
which Trump was addressing. Not a word. Not a word. But Biden waxed lyrical about the virtue of raising taxes. All these left-wing clots in the Democratic Party don't understand that if you raise taxes on corporations, then those corporations will move offshore and take American jobs with them. All this before we get to the wider issues of foreign policy. As the Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said this week of Biden, and I quote, "He's been a disaster on foreign policy. The border is in chaos. The Iranians are off the map. He's opening up negotiations with the Iranian regime and they haven't done a damn thing to change. Afghanistan's going to fall apart. Russia and China are already pushing him around," unquote. Well, someone of significant note is going to have to tap this bloke on the shoulder and tell him he's got to go. The tragedy is the replacement is Kamala Harris. As big a disaster. Her own party didn't want her in the runoff for the Democratic nomination. She received 2% of the vote.
Ew.
If we don't think the free world is in a mess, we are bad students of the current international situation.
Okay, enough of that. Wonderful.
Joining me now live from the border town of Sierra Vista, Arizona, Sheriff Mark Lamb of Pinal County, Arizona. Sheriff, welcome. Sheriff Mark Daniels of Cochise County, Arizona. Sheriff, welcome. Sheriff Tony Childress of Livingston County, Illinois. Welcome. And Sheriff Sam Page of Rockingham County, North Carolina. You are all welcome here, sheriffs, and you're all with the Protect America Now, supporting our sheriffs and law enforcement. You've got a big job right now. And you can go to protectamericanow.com for more information, everybody watching when this interview is over, and learn more about what they're facing. But let's get a firsthand account of it. So, Sheriff Lamb, you and I talked as you were pulling this group together about a week or so ago. Tell me what you've learned there at the border and what the public immediately needs to know.
I think the biggest thing that we've learned, which is why we have sheriffs here from North Carolina and Illinois, is this is not a border problem just for Arizona or Texas or New Mexico or California. This is an America problem. The fact that these sheriffs came all the way here to help us address this issue shows you the impact that it has on their communities as well.
Sheriff Daniels, I want to ask you a direct question about what our reporter was just saying. Casey Stiegel was talking about putting children in harm's way, and what they're seeing in Texas is they'll just throw them right in the river. And then that distracts agents. How difficult is that kind of behavior by the cartels to curtail and to fight in this whole process?
Well, thank you, Harris, and thanks for having us on, and thanks to my sheriffs for being here. This is the largest humanitarian issue on the southwest border going on right now. When it comes to what the cartels are exploiting these people, these children, and then you look at the public safety aspect of this that's affecting all communities in America. And I'll just say this, Harris, to you. In this region, the Tucson sector of Border Patrol, in this fiscal year, we've had 60,000 getaways just in this sector of the border. That's the largest in the country, and these are people we've seen on cameras that have got away, that are now in communities. That should be alarming to every American out there.
Okay, so that brings us to Sheriff Childress and Page. Sheriff Childress, I'll come to you first. 60,000 getaways, and they're fanning out all over the country. Again, Sheriff Lamb is right. This isn't just about the border.
Good morning, Harris, and thank you for sponsoring us, and thank you to the sheriffs here for having me. Yes, with numbers like 60,000 and numbers like 172,000 coming in, it's absolutely ludicrous that we have an administration that refuses to do anything. And then Last night I understand the State of the Union speech that he put it on Congress.
Yeah, Biden
saying that his first day
said some nasty stuff about the border.
He asked them to send him a bill. Well, we've seen instances where we had a president that didn't wait on Congress to pass a bill. He took action himself, and that's what we expect a leader, a true leader, to do, is take action. We see that we're putting lives at risk, citizens at risk, Border Patrol agents at risk. It's just a risk for everybody. And then you bring children and throw them in the river and drop them over the wall.
And it takes it up.
Risking them as well.
Level.
Yes.
Absolutely. Sheriff Page, I'm going to come to you next. I want to show the audience something first. A recent Fox News poll finds that nearly half of people think the border situation is worse than it was 2 years ago. 56% majority believe Biden, the president, winning the election is completely or mostly behind the surge of migrants at the border. First of all, Sheriff Page, I want to get an idea from you, your top line thoughts in reaction to that, and then I have a quick follow-up for you.
Okay. Well, first of all, being from North Carolina, I see now that we have something in common with Arizona, and this is real. We have coyotes like they do, and we have Mexican drug cartels in our communities. Merely two days, the violence, the crime, the criminal activity.
This is the last one we're going to watch, then I'm going to
And each day
go to some
across
music.
North Carolina, we lose people to heroin and fentanyl are dying in our communities. We know where the product's coming from, but just like was said with the president, Mr. President, come to the border. Mr. President, support the local, state, and federal law enforcement across this community and do something. And also, the cartel, we don't mention them a lot, but I'll tell you this. They're the persons making the money. They're the person capitalizing on the human smuggling, human trafficking, and the crime activity and the drugs that are taking lives every day in America. If we fail to secure our borders, every sheriff in America will become a border sheriff.
Wow. Sheriff Lamb, I'm going to give the follow-up to you on the numbers that we just showed our audience on how people are looking at this and seeing it get worse. And while the White House and the Biden administration may not want to call it a crisis across the board, people in America see what's going on. What are your thoughts?
13,000 children by themselves.
Absolutely, they see what's going on. We hear it every day. They're clamoring for our help. I've got community members, I'm 70 miles off the border, that say they can't even leave their kids to watch their younger kids because of the people coming in their carport trying to open their doors. This is a dangerous situation. We as sheriffs are standing together with Protect America Now. Please check it out at protectamericanow.com. We hear the people's voices. We're going to do our job. They didn't hear what they needed to hear last night from the president. We expected to hear more. We didn't get that from him, and that shows you this presidency doesn't care about what's happening here, but the sheriffs do, and we're going to continue to stand up for the people and for America.
You know, I have one final question for you, and I'll come to you, Sheriff Daniels, on this. The morale among law enforcement has been something that I have hit pretty hard during this hour of programming on Fox News. It's important that we have you all doing what you're doing and that you feel supported. I would say equally so for the Border Patrol, which is part of why you're there. You're shoring them up. What are you seeing that they are most dealing with the Border Patrol that you want to jump in and help right away?
Well, Harris, that's a good point, because the morale, the Border Patrol agents I've spoke to all the way up to senior leadership is challenged right now. There's no doubt about it. Their hands are tied from doing the job they do, and that is to secure this border and keep this country safe. And when you do that, you're going to take the morale away. And I'm telling you, the impact, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, it's a collective effort. And I tell you, after last night's speech by the president, it was an insult for everybody wearing a badge that's trying to protect this border.
Sheriff Lamb, from left to right here on screen, Sheriff Daniels, Sheriff Childress, and Sheriff Page. Thank you so very much, some of you coming from pretty far away to that border to give us a firsthand look and also help. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you, Harris.
Thank you, Harris.
A transitional figure, I don't think so. I think transformational is what Joe Biden is setting out to do. And by the way, if you look at how the metrics of his progress is that he always overshoots the runway instead of underperforms.
The thing is, moron, when you overshoot the runway, everyone on the plane dies. So talk about weird.
Medicaid contemplated it, but this plan is going to help those families and create jobs for our caregivers with better wages and better benefits, continuing a cycle of growth.
Everyone there was fully vaccinated, and yet we see a near-empty room filled with fearful eyeballs darting above their masks like a room full of coked-up surgeons. Did remind me of his campaign rallies. But I would wear a mask, too, to just cover the smell of bull. Did you hear this?
And we won't ignore what our intelligence agencies have determined to be the most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today. White supremacy is terrorism. We're not going to ignore that either.
Well, that's a first, telling the American public that the problem is within the American public. My feeling is, if you're the unifier in charge, you better back that up with some data or shut the hell up. Because if you don't have the numbers, you allow the media to smear millions of people. And maybe that's the point. Unify, but then crucify. So it's another confused tiding from the Prez in the plastic bubble. The guy sends more mixed messages than a stripper. Seriously, she gives me all this attention, then she does the same thing with another guy. But it wasn't all bad, because the bar for all bad is now gone. It was barely capable, like watching Grandpa reading his own eulogy if the funeral home had a teleprompter and Grandpa had left everything to his cat. It had all the drama and urgency of a Tupperware party hosted by the lady who's fallen but can't get up. Of course, the greatest achievement he took credit for.
After I promised we'd get 100 million COVID-19 vaccine shots into people's arms in 100 days, we will have provided over 220 million COVID shots. We're marshaling every federal resource. We've gotten vaccines to nearly 40,000 pharmacies and over 700 community health centers.
So now we have 2 Dr. Bidens. Thank you, Joe, for also discovering the polio, tetanus, and measles vaccines. Hunter's especially grateful you discovered penicillin. But talk about plagiarizing. He's like a relief pitcher who comes in and gets the last out of a no-hitter. Of course, the main thing that helped beat this pandemic were the vaccines, ordered and sped up by noted science hater Donald Trump. When Trump announced Operation Warp Speed, he was mocked by famous scientists like Dr. Joy Behar and Dr. Whoopi Goldberg, who assured us that such vaccines would take years and years. Trump did it in 9 months. Joe Biden took credit for it in just 100 days. That's a fact, Gloria.
And of course, everybody understands that Operation Warp Speed happened under Joe Biden, but getting vaccines into arms was a Biden operation.
You know, actually, Operation Warp Speed started in May 2020. The only thing Joe does at Warp Speed is raise taxes or roll down the cellar stairs after tripping on his bathrobe. The last operation Joe had anything to do with took place at a hair loss clinic. I think it was called Operation Joe Plugs. Of course, CNN let that slide because it's Gloria Borger, who hasn't said anything of merit since the early 80s. Her early 80s. So, how did the media take to Joe? As a young Senator Biden used to say all the time to FDR, "Are you sitting down?" Turns out they liked it.
An extraordinary amount of the use of tone. At times, speaking to a whisper.
Every single sentence had a very clear point to it, and every line of it had that Biden humility in it.
It was really beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful.
He's really trying to bring the country together. It was
a Make America Feel Good night.
Ugh, forget COVID. They suffer from fawning stupidity, which can be just as harmful since it's hard to breathe when you're kissing that much ass. Then there's Tim Scott's rebuttal and the media's convulsive reaction, because all he had to do was wonder if he's also experienced a different kind of intolerance.
I've also experienced a different kind of intolerance. I get called Uncle Tom and the N-word by progressives, by liberals. Just last week, a national newspaper suggested my family's poverty was actually privilege because a relative owned land generations before my time.
And every time Scott bravely counters the narrative that America is hopelessly racist, he gets crucified by the woke, peace-loving, utterly tolerant Dems. Some called him Uncle Tim, but at least no one called him Fredo.
There's some stuff there that may make sense in a sliver of Republican world, but in the news world, I don't think will ring.
This is a speech delivered from a planet where facts don't matter, which is where the current Republican Party resides. So it's really not his fault, but it is his responsibility to get his facts straight.
This was standard Republican pabulum. America's not a racist country. There's no racism here. I'm not sure what the purpose of this was. I am shocked and a bit embarrassed for him. This was a lost opportunity.
I'm shocked she's embarrassed. There you go, the stark contrast between media treatment of an old white male that they can control and a young black man that they can't. I'm not saying they hated Senator Scott's rebuttal, but today at CNN, all the BLM flags are at half-mast. Joe presents a vision that gets the stamp of approval from the woke class as he abandons any defense of the working class. Class is dead. Long live race. Tim Scott, by rejecting the language of victimhood and hate, however, scares the media more than Project Veritas's next release. Here's a black guy who's onto them. Right, Tim?
Today, kids are being taught that the color of their skin defines them again. And if they look a certain way, they're an oppressor. By doubling down on the divisions we've worked so hard to heal. You know this stuff is wrong. Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
Whoa, did he just say America is not a racist country?
Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
I heard him clearly. How dare he say something so positive about America? Didn't he get the memo? Or at least watch the Oscars? I mean, seriously, has he ever even met a black person? Except for his family and many of his friends and thousands of his constituents. We're all racist. Just ask any angry white male.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. Don't want to get in trouble. Okay.
Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. So, I didn't plan on posting this, but a fan, a viewer of Secure Team, about 2 years ago, made a short compilation video of some of his favorite UFO videos that were posted by me on this channel. Now, the reason I wanted to post this compilation for you guys to see is because when I first saw it, I was flattered, first of all, but secondly, I didn't even remember half of these sightings in this little compilation. So it just goes to show how many thousands of UFO videos we've featured on the channel, and I thought, you know what, it brought back memories for me. Maybe it'll bring back some memories for you guys, and those of you who are new to the channel, well, you'll get to see some footage that maybe you've never seen before, from UFOs flying behind the International Space Station to strange things happening in our skies here on Earth. So before you guys check that out, to add to yesterday's video about Mars, which if you haven't seen, check that out. I've got 2 previous new videos out. I want to show you something that a fan sent in, an image taken by the rover on Mars of yet another strange object seen up in the skies, way in the distance, that resembles very closely, and obviously we can't be for sure, some sort of flying object with wings. And so the viewer sent this in, and he also sent in this comparison eagle. And, you know, obviously the Mars image, it's very blurry, so but it has the same shape. And we know there's evidence of things flying in the skies on Mars, not just on the ground. And so it's either animal life, or it could be just a strangely shaped UFO. We know that much. So wanted to show you guys that real quick to add on to yesterday's video. And without further ado, here is the UFO compilation posted by one of our own Insomnia Team fans.
I wish I had a drink. I'll be right back, guys.
270 meters and closing. Crew Dragon expected to converge with waypoint 1 directly in front of the International Space Station in less than 5 minutes. You can see the views right over the shoulders of Commander Shane Kimbrough and pilot Megan MacArthur. Kimbrough on the left, MacArthur on the right from that view.
From this view from the International Space Station, you can see what we were mentioning earlier, where Dragon was below the station. You could see that previously when it had Earth in the background. Now it is almost adjacent, or almost in the same orbit as the International Space Station, as it's making its way to the docking axis at waypoint 1. Maneuver from below the station to in front of the docking port is almost complete, just a few minutes away.
Getting great views from all around, from the station side, from the Dragon side. The outline of the station you see on the displays inside Crew Dragon is in line with the position of where Dragon is relative to the International Space Station. It's almost at the docking axis, about 2.5 minutes to go until it converges with waypoint 1.
And as a reminder, Dragon is flying autonomously, so they aren't using those display panels to fly Dragon. They're just using them to monitor each step of the way. Crews basically just patiently waiting until they dock at the station.
Now seeing Dragon in a better view, a lot more clear now that it's only 240 meters away. You can see the nose cone clearly deployed, extended towards the space-facing side or zenith side.
A really good zoomed in view, and you could almost make out those 4 bulkhead thrusters on the forward portion of the Dragon capsule.
There you go. The Cronus is adjusting the aperture of the station cameras.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Approach 1 and soft capture ring extension will begin shortly. Dragon will continue to waypoint 2 with the additional lighting assessment occurring at 110 meters as previously noted. For awareness, if sunlight results in the loss of the Dragonite geofilters, Dragon will autonomously retreat back to waypoint 1, remaining on closed loop control using the time of flight filters. I'll copy.
We are in a handover period, so we may have missed a call as we were switching from Teeter's satellites. We're looking at about 20 seconds to go until we converge with waypoint 1. There's going to be an approach burn maneuver using the Draco thrusters. It's called approach 1, and that'll move Dragon from right in front of the docking axis, 220 meters away, and start moving in, closing in to waypoint 2, just 20 meters away from the docking axis. Of course, they'll be monitoring along the way.
We did hear the Corps mention that they are going to have a checkpoint to make sure that there isn't too much sunlight on the space station, which will prevent Dragon from docking. If that does happen, Dragon will autonomously back out and wait until the sunlight has cleared to ensure a good docking with the space station. Because this is all autonomous, it uses some visual cameras to align with the docking port. So it's really important that we don't have that sunlight getting in the way.
SpaceX has you loud and clear on the big loop. Helm me.
Loud and clear. Your last call, we copied most of it, but you cut out towards the end there. I'm not sure if there's anything important for us.
Copy. I'm going to repeat the end of the call. We did have a TDRS handover. Just for awareness, following the lighting assessment, if we continue but sunlight results in a loss of the Dragon Eye geofilters, Dragon Eye will autonomously retreat back to waypoint 1, still on closed loop control using the time of flight filters. How copy?
Okay, we copied all. Thank you very much for repeating.
No problem, Shane. And for awareness, the C2V2 link reconfiguration has been completed.
C2V2 complete.
There, the Corps just reiterated that they will be checking to make sure that the sunlight is not in the way of the visual systems between Dragon and the space station. If that does happen, Dragon will autonomously retract and wait until we do get some good visual views for these systems to dock with each other.
I mean, this world is crazy, but I love this planet. I love Earth. Yeah, no more X tag, no maturity. It's all music now, and a couple video games. stuff I play, it makes you think. Like, why are they doing this? Just it makes you think. Yeah, I also have PayPal. I would rather you use PayPal than give me lemons. I really don't want lemons. Because I haven't figured out how to get paid. And I also never have enough to get paid. I also give out my lemons. I give them out to everybody. I deem that you are a worthy person, then I, you know, and I love music, man. I love music. It's so calming, so relaxing. Look, the boys are back. I can hear them on their skateboards, or they're leaving. Now they're back, coming into the neighborhood. They're fine. Okay, this is real cold. I am falling asleep. go, baby. Way to go. I'm glad you are feeling better. You should take some heartburn medicine or something. I hope you did. I'm glad you're feeling better. Yeah, I miss you, baby. I miss you. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 pages. Hey, baby. Yeah, I'm okay. Just thinking about a lot of stuff. Like the situations going on around the world. I love you, baby. Yep, that is Halo. Yep, yep, yep. Hi, Halo. Can you imagine going up against that? That'd be so crazy, dude. My beautiful blue-eyed diva. Oh, yeah. Against the approaching armies. short if you're still here. Everybody, we'll be back. This is like, what, 40 minutes? No, it's an hour long. So I will be back. If you guys can, give me a follow on Discord, YouTube, and excuse me, Twitter. I'll be back. Why am I not live? Did they kick me off on YouTube? What? No, I guess somebody...
No, it says you're still streaming.
No, I know.
What?
No, somebody went into my thing. Fox. Pixa. Media.
I have no idea what that.
Bless you, son. Bless you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I'm going to end my stream. You guys have a wonderful night. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I will be on tomorrow in the movie. We're thrown in the pit. Probably a long while. And we'll have some cool videos, games, other stuff. You guys take care, all right? Have a beautiful day. Bye.